Shake, 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 Sinora, shake it all the time.
When you add a shake of Frank's Red Hot, you open a world of better. A world where wings bring out the flavor of game day any day. Where buffalo chicken dip takes any party up a notch. And where any slice of pizza instantly becomes the world's best slice of pizza. At least until the next slice. Bring every bite to life with the perfect blend of flavor and heat. Frank's Red Hot. I put that shit on everything.
What's up, you BBD boops? Welcome to the Bird Brain Podcast, where the goal is to rise above it all. Stay elevated, create that infinity up your you. I'm your host, Isaiah. And I've kind of talked about this before, but I feel like it's important to talk about it again, right? Because healing is not a destination. It is a journey. It is a constant. And today, I simply want to talk about the idea of self-recognition, self-permission, and how self-love encompasses all those things. Because you might be rejecting yourself a lot more than what you may realize. And it's out of the fear of being hurt in a lot of ways. And we got to talk about it. All right. So buckle up for this one, okay? Because it's going to be a lot I want to talk about and discuss. And it's just worth the conversation, truth be told. So yeah, if you're home, well, if you're driving, first of all, put on your seatbelt. All right? Put on your seatbelt. If you're at home, put on your seatbelt. And get some water. We're going to go along for this ride, all right? Stay tuned. So for starters, I'm taking this whole concept of being a night owl kind of literal because it's currently midnight and I'm recording this podcast episode primarily because I've been working around the clock to edit, the short horror film self-tape that I'll be releasing on the YouTube of the Bird Brain Podcast. And also, I think I'm going to do a watch party on TikTok Live on Monday at 6 p.m. Yeah, it's a short film. If you listen to The Night Owl, then Friday's episode was kind of like part one. I decided to write kind of like a prologue, if you will, into the short film. Just because I love Halloween and, you know, I want to always make sure I like deliver on my promises, you know, being impeccable with your word. And you know what? Hold that thought. But yeah, I wrote and shot a horror short, and it's a big deal because I like doing these things on Halloween. I enjoy it, but I also enjoy bringing you guys content, like unique content, you know, fresh, and creation of my own. So up editing, up thinking about a ton, and now I was like, you know what, I can't sleep, so I want to record this podcast now, because usually if you want to have some deep conversations with somebody, usually between the hours of 12 and 3 a.m. is usually when people are the most real and vulnerable and open. And I was like, you know what, I'm not sleepy, so let me just record this podcast. And yeah, so here we are. Also, I want to ask you guys for your help and your support. So with this short film, I'm trying to submit this sucker to festivals. And festivals cost, but also like I want to pay the people that help me make this film what it is. And I am asking you guys if you want to contribute. You know, I'll leave my PayPal link. I'll leave a Cash App link, Venmo, whatever. I don't know how these damn things work because I typically don't do this thing, but I wanna up the ante a little bit and ask you guys for help. And if you want to support, the podcast and me and the film, you like the film, you want to pay contribution. It means a lot. It goes a long way. But basically the goal is to get some better equipment so I can start shooting more of these, because I've been wanting to turn the Night Owl into something more of films, short films. Now that requires a lot of work on my end. And funny enough, I was on TikTok Live earlier this week, and shout out to my followers, because y'all don't like how people try to come for me sideways. There's some followers that I have. I don't even want to say, it's people that subscribe to my content and people, that just show up in their own way. But I really want to say how much I appreciate y'all, because y'all have your boys back quick too. Like, y'all don't play about me. And it's not in a way of like, a mob or, being, what's the word I'm looking for? Bullying or, witch hunt or whatever. But y'all simply, I've noticed, like, y'all don't let certain things slide. And it means a lot to me. Because, the goal is to just always look out for people, right? And it goes to show who you guys are. So thank you for that. So earlier this week, I was on a TikTok Live, and, we were chatting. It was a good vibe. It's usually a good vibe. If you're on TikTok, come chill on the lives. There's usually music. We talk, we laugh. I'm grateful to have the people that do show up, because they make the energy what it is, truthfully. And it's just a chill place, and everybody we talk, we chill. They're very supportive of each other. And basically the other day, someone randomly popped in, and they were just like, in more words, what they were saying was like, I expected more from you on the Night Owl. You didn't deliver as much on the Night Owl this time around. I expected more in comparison to your previous years. And, sometimes when people say things, I don't know what their angle is or what their intentions are. So I will ask. I'm like, what did you mean by that? Like, what's your goal with saying that? Like, I'm not exactly sure what you're saying. I could kind of, figure it out, but sometimes I'd rather not figure it out. If someone's going to be rude, or if someone's going to say certain things, I'm going to let them work to say their truth, right? I'm going to let you do your job. This is what you want to do. This is your goal. All right. We don't need to be too many cooks in the kitchen. I'm going to let you do this for yourself. This is not my job to make the work easy for you, especially if you may be coming off in a certain way, right? So they were like, well, I expected more, because it wasn't as many stories this October as it was previously. And, I did my best not to take offense to it or get defensive, because, sometimes, and one of the things I've learned is that you don't owe people more than what you have to offer, right? And, for someone like me, I'm never somebody that's running around telling people how busy I am, just because busy doesn't mean anything to me. Like I said, everybody's busy, and a lot of people are busy doing absolutely nothing. But on top of that is like, I'm not the type of person what's the word I'm looking for? I don't think I'm better than anybody else because of what I do. You get me? I'm always working on something, most definitely always working. There's always something to do, and I don't necessarily broadcast it. I like to do my thing, and I like to produce something dope. And, being a content creator, one, but also just being like an entrepreneur, but also just being a human and having real life experience. There's a lot of shit that I juggle on a daily basis. And I may not put it all on my social media and everything because I don't feel a need to, right? What is that going to do? Like, I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not looking for anything like that. So it's like, there's no goal there. But I do a lot, I do a lot, and I do my best to do it well. So when they said that, I was like, man, the first thought I had in my head was like, the nerve. You know what I'm saying? When somebody says something, oh, I expected more. It's like, well, what are you helping me do? Right? Before you expect something from someone, what do you have to offer? That's one, and this is across the board. Like, when it comes to relationships and everything, when we expect certain behavior from other people, what are we showing up as? Right? And when it comes to standards, right? I can meet my own standards, but I don't hold people to my standard. It's different. I know what I'm willing to do on any given day. I don't expect people to do that for me. Or just in life. I don't have those expectations of them, right? And this is all going somewhere, I promise. When they said that, I just simply said, I was like, well, how long have you been following my podcast? Are you new to the podcast? Just asking questions for clarity. Are you new here? Oh, you've been listening to my podcast for the past 2 years. Okay, cool. Well, in the last 2 years, I've definitely changed. Life has changed. My obligations have changed in a big way, right? And on top of that, me with this podcast, in the past 4 years, every story on the Night Owl has been an original story that I've written. Original, not copy. It wasn't copied, wasn't plagiarized. This is literally have been from my own creation. The Night Owl alone. Then you have the regular podcast episodes, right? And now you have me producing bonus content for my subscribers, which, hey, guys, I love y'all, and I appreciate y'all so much for showing me love. And then again, life outside of content creating. Forget about TikTok, right? Forget about, IG post and all that. There's so much that I do, and I don't always realize how much I do until I'm tired. And when they said that, I was like, wow. And I think sometimes people their mouths get ahead of their thoughts, or their mouths get ahead of their discretion, right? And they say certain things. And, the reason why the Night Owl is what it is, me writing my own stories, is because when I first started the Night Owl, the goal was to have people submit stories. Submit their own personal paranormal stories or whatever stories that they heard, whatever the case may be. And I put that out there. I was like, yo, if you have stories, submit them. And when I tell you guys, and this is why you have to be your biggest supporter. When I first started out the Night Owl, and I had asked for people to submit stories or whatever, there was maybe two people ever to submit an actual Night Owl story. Only two. Out of all the people that I listed, and maybe some people didn't have it, whatever kiss me be, but some people it just never happened. You see what I'm saying? So with that, I was like, well, I still have to deliver. And I'm going to deliver. I got that little red hen kind of syndrome where it's like, I'm going to make this bread, right? And I'll ask for help for sure. But if I don't get it, I'm going to still do it. I will do it. And that's kind of how I've always operated. But being that I'm always the one that's doing it, I get tired, like, truth be told. So, me not having more stories this year was not of laziness. It was out of lifing, in so many ways. And what I appreciated was my TikTok followers. Like, they were like, you produce quality content, and it takes a lot to produce quality content. And it does. right? I could easily go out here and copy other people's stuff and try to get noticed off of that. People have copied my stuff and gotten noticed off of it. And it's like, I was surprised that happens, but it is what it is. Me, I'm out here just trying to be authentic as possible. And with that comes me having to utilize my own brain, pull from my personal experiences, be as tactful as possible, and make sure that what I'm offering up is quality and, something that people could apply. And when it comes to the Night Owl stories, it's like my creative, in order for me to be creative mentally, I have to be there. I have to be able to do that. And that all doesn't always happen because, again, I'm human. And all this is to say, sometimes we don't realize how much of an impact we have because we are always trying to impact. And I was telling this to a client recently. It's like, we don't get to see ourselves. The only time we ever see who we actually are is when we're looking in a mirror or in our phones. And even that picture is inverted, kind of, is not fully how other people see us. But it's also important that we give ourselves permission to be valued, right? And we give people permission to value us, right? Now, that's not the same thing as forcing people to love you or demanding people love you or try to manipulate a situation for someone to love you. It's simply recognizing if somebody values me, I give them permission to value me, and I give myself permission to be valued because I deserve it. And, in those moments, right? Like when that person said what they said, I was just like, man, I'm grateful that like the thought of me not doing enough didn't really cross my mind for too long. And I'm also grateful that I didn't get angry and combative and kind of defensive and be like, yo, who the fuck are you? I didn't go there. And I could have. I mean, I would have had every right to, because the funny thing about people is like they say what they want and then they kind of expect you to reply in a way that makes them comfortable. It's like, well, no. If you're going to say something that puts me in an uncomfortable position, whatever I respond with is how I respond. If you felt the need to speak how you speak, how I respond is not up to you. Right? And just in that moment, I was just like, man, I do a lot, because I started going through a list in my head of everything I do and why I haven't been able to write as many Night Owl episodes as I wanted to. October is my favorite time of year. October is my month. I love October, and it always goes by so fast. And it always seems like this time of year, there's so many things happening, so many things I'm feeling. A lot of history now around October, and good, bad, right? It's a lot. And my ability to just kind of be there creatively just hasn't really been there. And instead of me like beating down on myself, that's the last thing I refuse to do. It's like, nah, just doing what I can, doing what I'm in control of. And I extend that to you guys, right? It comes a point in time where you really just have to give yourself permission. We want validation, but we don't even give ourselves permission, right? We want the validation of people that care about us. We say that's what we want in this life, and then when people show up, we sabotage it, right? When people do value us. And I'm not saying that somebody necessarily has to be the answer to all your prayers or things like that. But no, I'm just simply saying when somebody values you, give yourself permission to receive that. Because you have to build currency. If you've been in such a place where you weren't valued and you were constantly berated and you were constantly negatively impacted, and there were no deposits made to your heart, instead so many withdrawals that left your heart in a negative, that left your mental health in a negative, that left your self-love in a negative, all your currency, your emotional, spiritual, physical, mental currency in the negatives, is now time to have deposits made and just let them accrue interest. You know what I'm saying? And the only way you can do that is if you recognize the value of who you are, if you recognize your worth. And the only way you can really do that is two things. One, we need external reinforcement, right? Because obviously, if we're left to our own devices, we won't get that far, right? If you come from a place of toxicity, abuse, whatever the case may be, and you're left to your own devices, it's just cyclical pain. It's cyclical. So that's why when everybody says, oh yeah, love starts from in yourself, you can't make water from an empty well. So when people say that, I'm like, one is very ignorant. It's very dismissive. And it's lazy. It's very lazy rhetoric because it doesn't mean shit. You're going to tell someone who's wounded that they, the only way they can heal is if they operate on themselves. No, because if I don't have the tools and I don't know how to make a proper incision, all I'm going to do is infect myself even more, and it's going to lead to a worse issue. No, I need external reinforcement, whether it be a doctor, whether it be someone who knows a doctor, right? Whether it be someone who knows how to make a tourniquet until we could find a doctor. I need external reinforcement. I need external resources. No matter how old we get, we will always need community. Okay, so when it comes to the idea of knowing your worth, you have to know your worth, but you have to allow other people to know it too. And what that looks like is not being so afraid when somebody wants to value you. Yeah, it feels weird because you're not used to it, but not everything that's uncomfortable is unsafe, right? And not everything that feels comfortable is actually safe. Some people are very familiar with chaos and they navigate it very well. So much so that they make home with it. Does that mean that it's the safest and the healthiest for them? Absolutely not. It just means it's familiar, right? And sometimes when we're not used to being valued, even the smallest things feel weird. The smallest things feel like a catch. Like, wait, why are you being kind to me? Wait, what is that? Whoa, wait, nah, that's weird. No one else has ever done that. So why are you? I don't even know you, right? Sometimes it takes the people that don't know us. It takes the people that don't know us to show us how much we should know our worth. You get me? It takes strangers to bring us back home to ourselves. And it's just simply you giving yourself permission to say, hey, I give myself permission to be valued in this life. I give myself permission for other people to value me, not take advantage of me. I don't give people permission for that, but I give people in this life permission to value me. And what that means is I'm receptive. I'm open to love. I'm open to being cared for the way I deserve, the way I say I really desire. And when you give yourself permission for that, you can now have a little bit more discernment of, what care looks like and what it doesn't look like. But you have to give yourself permission. And when other people come at you left, hey, give yourself permission to take care of yourself in those moments, whatever that looks like. Because again, not everybody who's knocking at your door, you deserve to answer just because they feel entitled to an answer. Okay. Yeah, it's been an interesting week. Like I said, I've been working around the clock trying to get all these things done, and I love it. You know what I'm saying? I love it. I'm tired, and I got a lot of work to do, and it's work that I'm giving myself, but it's work that I enjoy, especially if you guys get a takeaway from it. And like I said, Halloween is like a second birthday for me, so I really try to always go all out with a bang, and this is no different. So we're gonna do it. Yeah, that's all I got. It's just about giving yourself permission, guys. Honestly, once you give yourself permission to be valued and be loved, it will be so much easier to give yourself permission to stop showing up where you're not being valued or loved. You get me? One thing needs to be in motion first before the other thing can start moving. And I promise you, you'll start to see a change, but you have to give yourself permission. like I was saying to someone, allow yourself to be a passenger, not in your life, take the driver's seat in your life, but be willing to be a passenger in being valued, right? Go on that ride. Allow people to value you. Give people the opportunity to value you, not just get what they want from you because it's appealing or whatever, but not people liking you because they like how you make them feel, but people who truly value you. And at the end of the day, whether they're in your life or not, they just want to let you know, hey, I'm going to do my best to value and treat you properly. Give yourself permission to be valued. Give other people permission to value you. And stop rejecting yourself to think that you're protecting yourself, but you're not. It's like, somebody going, let's say, and I'll leave you guys with this. It's like your kid just did this recital, an amazing recital. They had a little dance recital or whatever the case may be. They did phenomenal. They were nervous at some points, but they did their fucking best and they killed it. And then after the recital, you have people coming up to you and your kid, right? And they're like, man, you did such a good job. You really did a good job. And then you as the parent or as the grown up, the guardian, whatever the case may be, you're like, nah, they messed up a couple of times. They weren't that great. They could do better. They could do so much better. Right? They weren't that great. They don't need all of that. Or somebody comes and gives that little person flowers, or like, hey, I got you this, just to congratulate you on a good job. You're like, oh yeah, no, they don't need that. They got enough stuff. They don't need that. The little kid hears that. The little kid sees that. The little kid is understanding that they don't deserve to be valued for who they are and how they show up. Stop doing that. Let it feel weird. Let it hit. But if you want to know what real value feels and looks like, you have to allow it to exist in your life. Think on it, guys. Okay? In the meantime, I hope you guys have an amazing Halloween. Happy Halloween. Today's the day. Happy Halloween. And if you're around tonight, like I said, 6 p.m., I'm gonna do a live on Instagram and also TikTok at 6 p.m. Pacific time. We're going to have like a little watch release party. And like I said, if you guys want to contribute and help and show some love and support, it'd be greatly appreciated. Like I said, it doesn't go in vain because the contributions are going to go to paying the actors, paying the fucking filmmakers, submitting to festivals, getting better equipment, and whatever I do with this, I'll just be giving thanks to all the contributors, making sure that you guys know it's not in vain. So yeah, I'll leave, like I said, I'll leave the Cash App, I'll leave PayPal, I guess Venmo, all those things in the bio of the short film on YouTube or on my TikTok live. Yeah, and if you want to show some love, like I said, it means the world, because we're just trying to grow here, guys. Really are, and doing our best to fucking do it the right way. So that's all I got. I'm slowly falling asleep finally, but my mind was full, my heart was light, and I was just like, you know what? These are some things worth talking about. So don't reject yourself, and don't apologize for fucking showing up for yourself when other people fail to do it. Okay? You don't owe people, all of you, who've been half-assing when it comes to you. Always remember that. Alright? Take care of yourselves. Take care of yourselves. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Take flight.